as a freelancer, a lot of your work is just make sure that the client is happy with what you provided. And maybe for you, it's just a little change, but for them, it can make their setup or their workflow a lot easier. So really a nice addition in my opinion. The moment I realized that what I had was valuable on its own, that it didn't necessarily need to be packaged together with something else, then I realized I could offer it as a standalone service, and that people were valuing it as a standalone service because they were looking for a reliable solution from someone experienced and not just someone who happened to know Framer and they were also designers. So I think the community was one of the main things that made me fall in love with Framer back when I started in 2023.
Awesome. Luca, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Man, it's awesome to have you here. We've been in touch for I think almost a year now through Contra, if I'm not mistaken. We spoke a couple of times, but this is the first time we actually get to have a conversation, I think face to face. So it's pretty exciting. For anyone who doesn't know Luca is one of the best Framer experts online. I think if you're looking for the guy who knows probably the most about Framer all in one human being, that would be Luca. So if you have any questions about a Framer website, optimization, how to make stuff work and be basically optimized for speed, for SEO, for literally anything, I feel like you are a walking Framer Wikipedia, if that makes sense.
Thank you. Too kind.
Yeah. And yeah, I feel like you going all in on Framer, not just as a tool, but as your career path or creative lane, was a turning point for you. So when was it you actually realized that this is not just a website builder, this is something that I can build my career upon?
I would say it happened earlier this year. So before that, I was doing both web design and Framer development, though web design was really my strong point. I was offering it because everybody was doing the full package, so I thought it makes sense. But then earlier this year, there were two main factors that made me realize I could just focus on Framer. The first one was I was working with Dylan, Dylan Campbell. We were working together on a few projects, and we landed quite a few very, very big projects where they didn't really need a designer. They already had either a design ready or they had a in-house team that was working on the design, and they just wanted some people that they knew they could trust to move a big site, that they knew could build a solid website, not that just looked good on the outside, but also was like strong, built on strong foundations on the back end, and that then the people, like the team, the marketing team, could easily run without us. So like build with components, reusable sections, page templates, etc. So that was one of the 2 points that made me realize. The other was that I was still working as a product specialist at Framer, and what I saw, even with enterprise clients that had worked with agencies or freelancers, so they had a good foundation, but they were still struggling to work on their website, and that's because the website was fine, but it wasn't like super componentized or reusable. So in a way, yes, you have more freedom, but in another way, the marketing team is also looking for speed when they use Framer. So being able to create pages, make edits very easily without needing a developer. So building the site in a way where they can do that is really important for a lot of teams. And also, in general, a lot of people had questions, even agencies and experts that you see on Twitter or LinkedIn. They had questions about speed, performance, code. And I saw that after more than 2 years working with Framer and more than 1 year working as a product specialist, I knew basically all the answers every time. So I realized that I had a skill that a lot of people lacked, and I decided to go all in on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but you tweeted like a few weeks ago that a website you worked on that had over 100 pages launched. Was it 100? It was something insane.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
that
so
was
that's crazy.
common. Yes, I worked with Maxime on it, and it had more than 100 static pages and then 1.1k CMS pages. So pretty big website, yeah.
Pretty big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isma, what do you think?
Oh man, the biggest website I have built in Framer is about 22 pages. I thought that was really big, but yeah, that one is a monster, over 100 pages. And I think you're totally right on something you're mentioning about the speed on Framer and all the different things that for clients may be something like a little bit complicated because the platform is different from most of the tools out there. And I think it simplifies really well, like optimizing for SEO, for the cookies, for speed. And I'm glad that you're that person for many clients, from startups to creators to different industry, and they come to you for the expertise. And I think, like Daniel said at the beginning, you're one of the few people that I know that it knows the platform inside out, and every single new features I get to see how you optimize, how you share different tips about how to use the platform. And I think that's amazing, brother. And we have seen an amazing portfolio, honestly. You have one of the most amazing portfolio when it comes to Framer inside Contra. But what's something that you think freelancers or independents or agencies building websites with Framer they struggle with? What's something that no one talks about? And what basically is something that you know, but most people struggle about and they don't know about it. And how do you see the platform evolving on that part?
Sure. So I think definitely you're right that Framer makes a lot of things easy, but I would say that you don't know what you don't know, correct? So while there are a lot of things that are made easy, there are a lot of that are made a bit trickier in order to make them easy. So um, just an example it comes to my mind is the canonical tag. So basically there's a little tag that you add to each page that basically tells Google and other search engines which version of a page is the preferred version. So usually this is you would have to do it manually, and Framer does it automatically, which is very nice. But then maybe they need to change it, and there's no documentation around it, and there's no UI piece that tells you how to do it, and you need to know the mechanism of how it works in the backend, and then you know, for example, that you can add it to the head of the page, and then it will overwrite the one that Framer manually sets. And I can think of tons of these little examples. For example, if you add a script to the head of a single page rather than the entire website, that will only work if you land on that page. That's because Framer websites are single page applications. So if you navigate to it, it will not fire. So it's a combination of those little things that you only learn through experience, through facing these problems, clients bringing that up, and you needing to figure that out. That I think a lot of people struggle with without even realizing it. The build goes smooth until you are 90% of the way there, and then you get to the last 10% where people have very specific requirements. So not just building a few sections, but these very specific requirements, very specific problems that are unique to the website, and then that's where you end up spending 80% of your time just because you don't know these little things. You need to do research. There's no documentation. There's no people talking about it offline, which is also why I created a lot of blogs around on-click supply about these little things. And I try to document it also on LinkedIn, on Twitter. So I will say this. I hope this answers your question. So a lot of small things that you learn with experience. I was lucky to be part of the product specialist team, which really gave me a head start on this. Like it 10x my knowledge on Framer. So yeah, I think that's the main one.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you are basically part of Framer Insiders Independence, just to know, because we interviewed Miguel. We have several friends that they part of the Framer team, and it's really good because the experience that you get from working with the team and the insights and basically how things work inside out, right? I think is quite different from just working with the platform. Do you get to work with the Framer team just by chance?
Sorry.
Yeah, do you work with the Framer team on optimizing the platform or anything inside the platform?
I mean, I didn't work on specific things, but yeah, we were the basically the line between the clients and then the engineering team. So if we saw how people interacted with features, and we could give feedback on what they struggled with, what they were looking for, which can be a bit harder even if you are like a product leader and you just do product. Unless you spend a lot of time with people, it's harder to see um, how they interact with a feature. So we also helped shape a couple of things, like just a few suggestions, but yeah, definitely in that way. Also for bugs, there used to be a space in the community, if you remember about it, for people to make bugs, but in 50% of the cases it was just people not knowing how to use a feature. So we it was removed, and we started logging bugs manually internally because uh, we could see whether it was a skill problem or whether it was an actual bug. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And also the community around Framer is so huge. That's really good to see. And also in the network inside Contra, how we get to hang out with and get to meet people like you, very specialized in platform like Framer, and get to ask questions. I remember Daniel recently asking something. I don't know if it was you or Adriano, but he was able to ask something inside Contract, and the community basically jumping, and people provide a lot of feedback. It's really good to see the community around that platform. I haven't seen any around any other platform. No Webflow, no Kayabi, no any other platform. It's amazing.
Yeah, 100%. I think the community was one of the main things that made me fall in love with Framer back when I started in 2023.
Yeah, likewise for me.
Yeah, community is great. I feel like it might be because people are very aware of how precious this tool is and how special it is and unique. And it's something that designers used to dream about before. So I feel like that could be one of the reasons why. But yeah, that leads me to the next question because Framer moves so fast. It feels like the team never sleeps. Basically, they push a new update every week, and it's absolutely crazy. Like some things you miss, some things you're like, "Oh, this is cool. Let me check this out for a second." Like, how do you manage to follow everything and master everything by the time like they push a new update because it's pretty much instant?
Yeah, uh, that's a good one. Up until a couple of weeks ago, it was just because I was part of the team, and I had to know the features before they came out, so that I could answer questions around it. So when it was almost ready to go in beta, we will look at the videos. We will try to play around with it, so that we had basic knowledge around it, and then you learn a lot just by people asking questions and you having to try to figure out for them. So definitely, like a lot of my product knowledge comes from just working for the product specialist team. So uh, that was my main thing up until a couple of weeks ago. And now that I no longer work for the team, it's just keeping up with updates and always trying to play around with features as soon as they come out. Uh, Almost every time something comes out, I have a past client that needed it. So I bring it up, maybe I implemented it on the website, and I already get some experience with the feature on a real project.
Yeah, that's a good idea for like reoccurring projects actually.
Yeah, not just for recurring, but also to keep you top of mind in case they have a referral or this hear someone needing the website, but also just for keeping the relationship. And like as a freelancer, a lot of your work is just make sure that the client is happy with what you provided, and maybe for you it's just a little change, but for them it can make their setup or their workflow a lot easier. So really a nice addition in my opinion.
We know that you just you went all in right with Framer. You said you've been working with the platform for 3 years, but for the last year, been like all in as an independent using Contra. We know there's a mindset change whenever we start saying we go from I'm just a designer who use Framer to be I with Framer for top creator, talks, startups, whatever niche you use right now. What was the mindset shift that you did from just working with the platform to go all in with the platform and basically start building your business around Framer mainly?
I think this ties back to the first question that Daniel asked about what made me pivot. So the moment I realized that what I had was valuable on its own, that it didn't necessarily needed to be packaged together with something else, then I realized I could offer it as a standalone service, and that people were valuing it as a standalone service because they were looking for uh, a reliable solution from someone experienced and not just someone uh, who happened to know Framer and they were also designers. So.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I have seen that a lot too. I have seen several friends that they start using Freema, for example, Daniel, he started using Freema and then Framer came in and he's like, oh, well, this is very similar. This is something that is an open canvas and fun to use. And it's really good because I have seen like Instant Frame, Framer University. I can have different libraries and creators all around Framer and everyone have the eggs in the same basket all around Framer because I think the platform has a lot of potential too. And overall, even for my clients, most of my clients, probably 70-80%, they come for Kayabi projects and recent clients that have been using Framer too. I offer them like, look, I'm a no code developer. I don't have like a developer coding team behind, so we can use Framer and we can have a much better experience compared with Kayabi, for example. And I think I'm about to do the same thing with Shopify clients because the platform basically keep adapting to different industry, different niches, not just startups. Most people know Framer for startups, but keep adapting to online courses, to e-commerce, and different niches that I think is very valuable. And I think it's owning a really piece of internet right now with probably I would guess about 200K website on internet, which is less than 1%.
Yeah, it feels like a lot when you are in the middle of it. But if you look at the grand scale of things, then it's a little percentage, which is crazy to think about.
It is, and the industry is so big. It's so big. How many websites out there, right? From WordPress 25 years ago, and then Webflow, and then all the different platforms. And I think right now the biggest community, in my opinion, is around that platform, around Primer. And I think that's why it's getting a lot of traction. And like you say, I mean, the platform is shipping features almost every week too, and it's hard to catch up sometimes, honestly, because there's a lot.
Yeah, 100%.
This is a non-related question, but I was wondering, how did you come across Contra for the first time?
Oh, so it was back in fall of 2023. So um, at the time, I didn't have any clients, so I was just trying to become a freelancer. And I had just finished learning Framer, and I had done a free Framer project for a fitness influencer trying to get some proof going, a little testimonial, a website I could share in my portfolio, and so on and so forth. And um, I learned about the Framer Expert program, and at the time it was only on Contra, like there wasn't the Framer/experts thing. So you needed to have a profile on Contra, and then you could get your badge there. And so I signed up for Contra. I went instantly with the pro account, which is something I shared last week on Contra, my story of how I used the Contra and the Contra Pro thing. But yeah, so I signed up, created an account, and got the badge. And that's basically how I discovered Contra, which is another amazing platform that really changed the trajectory of my freelance career.
Yeah, it did for all of us. I think that and the fact that it's so interconnected with Framer, as it was back then, and how it evolved with the two communities kind of bridging the gap has really impacted the whole design industry.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. I think Framer was a big booster to grow Contra and the other way around. And now basically if you talk to someone who knows Framer, they 100% know Contra. It's a guarantee.
Yeah, and vice versa.
Yeah, it's so
Exactly.
seamless that, guys, I went to a Framer event early this year on March, and I wore my Contra hat, and everyone
Yeah.
was so familiar with Contra. Everyone was like, "Do you work at Contra?" I'm like, "No, I just part of the platform. Just use the platform for my business." But everyone got to, and some of them they were just explaining to other, "Oh yeah, what is Contra? Oh, Contra is this and that." I didn't have to introduce much the platform because essentially the community is so connected, and a lot of people, a lot of experts in agency and Framer, they're running Contra, and the Contra community is being getting to experience Framer. Even when some of the experts they come from different platforms, I have friends that they have a lot of expertise on Kajabi, for example, Shopify, and they coming right now into Framer, and they say the platform is amazing. They start building the designs. They use Figma, but they also see the value from the platform too. So I think it's all well connected, and I probably went through the same experience that you went, Luca. Just 16 months, 17 months ago, I found Framer, opened my account, and then told me to open my account with Contra, and then I couldn't catch up if there were like separate platforms or no. Eventually, I started following some Miguel and different friends on X, and then I found out like, oh, they are a different platform. And Contra is for it's kind of like a marketplace, but also is a platform similar to Dribble, but it's different. So I started finding out what was Contra, but just after I joined Framer, so that was very seamless.
Yeah, indeed. Crazy. Everyone living the same life here.
I know.
Pretty much. All right, we are at the second part of the interview. So what we're gonna do now is shoot some questions really, really fast, and you need to answer basically as fast as you can without thinking about it too much. And let's see what comes up. So the
Okay.
first one is, what's the most overrated Framer feature right now?
Design pages. Okay.
So, what would you choose? Or what normally do you choose on your project? Template or form scratch, which one expose like builder, real skill. Would you normally go from scratch or with templates?
100% from scratch. Unless there's a reason to go from templates. I think they have their place, but 100% from scratch. Also because I have my way of building things. So I have my style. I want my style on the project.
Have you
That's it.
like this is a follow-up question because it's interesting,
Yeah.
but have you made over the years like this framework of yours, so kind of like a personal Luca template for stuff that you like and you know that you reuse all of the time?
I don't have a template. Maybe I should build it to make things quicker for myself. But yes, I do follow a structure that I know works, and it works on every website, and it works for all the clients, and it makes the project really tidy, really easy to maintain, to use, and for the client as well. So really easy to use to create new sections, new pages.
One
Yeah.
thing clients always misunderstand about Framer.
Uh, they often miss the difference between a website and a web app. So they ask maybe if can we add a login, a password protection with like authentication or an e-commerce. So they make this. Sometimes they think it's a little feature, but in reality, there's a lot of that goes behind it, and they miss this part.
That's interesting though. Could you finish this phrase for me? So a great framer builder in 2026 would be the one who.
Um, who learns the little things that take a lot of time to learn, but are really valuable, like the ones that we mentioned about no documentation, little edge cases, but really, really valuable for clients. Yeah, exactly. Most of my projects for now are either Figma to Framer or like a direct one-on-one migration. For example, the two projects I'm working on right now is one from Squarespace to Framer, like the exact website and just move to Framer. So the team again can move much quicker with the website, and the same for the other website, but they are on Contentful, I believe.
Coming into 2026, what is something you wish for yourself and the new path you're building? Because if you're not following Luca, he's been really pushing it for the past year and specifically the last few months. I know that personally. So, what is one thing you wish for yourself for the next year?
I'm hoping I can keep up the momentum I currently have with Framer, with Framer migration. So work is going really well, freelancing is going really well. So I would love to be able to keep this momentum. And yeah, this is the main thing. And I also would love to be able to take some time off. A big learning for me from 2025 was that you can burn out, and to be aware of that, because uh, it's not just a few days of missed work, it will be weeks.
Once again, one of the best, if not the best, framework developer out there. So I'm sure 2026 has some great things for you.
I think mostly client work, because I found the most success with it. And on the side, I'm starting a little newsletter, maybe you saw it. It's nothing crazy, not something I'm looking to monetize, or what I learned on the journey. So I think those will be the two main bets for me in 2026. So going stronger on Framer migration, especially for larger enterprise clients, and then sharing some content while I go. I did so Daniel newsletter. I read it actually. I'm not subscribed to the newsletter. I just read it from LinkedIn, and I really like the topics, because you don't just go on tactics and like how to get more clients or stuff. You go more on like focus on one thing, don't burn out, you don't have to earn your holiday. A lot of this holistic stuff for long-term sustainability that I really resonate with.
People don't understand what they're capable of, even when they're younger, and you're just like absolutely crushing it. You're not letting the norms define you. And I think that's exactly why you're going to surpass what you think by so much, because you really don't understand how capable you are just because of doing this, while everybody expect you as Luca, as someone who's 21, to do something else right now. So I know for a fact you're going to have such an amazing future, and just keep crushing it, man. And thank you so much for
That's
coming
much
on.
nice. Really appreciate it, and also thanks for having me here. It was
Yeah, of
great chatting
course.
with you.
Yeah. Likewise, bro. Thanks a lot for joining us.